Hey, everybody, it's Dan Francis, CEO of the Orbit Recovery Ecosystem, an AI integrated behavioral health platform. And I want to talk about what that is because a lot of people are really upset with the idea of AI and behavioral health. And there's ideas like, is it going to replace therapists? Are you trying to destroy our profession? All the way to it's never been better than it's going to be here. And that will be my position. It's never been better than what it's going to be here. But at the center of all behavioral health, all successful behavioral health will be connection, will be the idea of the human in the loop. So when I describe Orbit as AI integrated behavioral health, what I'm describing is a system where the AI improves the clinical timing. It improves the precision of the clinical effort and early detection, not at all a matter of convenience, even though it is a good tool. Because the most important clinical outcome AI contributes is an early drift detection in our case. Traditional recovery models, they don't have that, and they intervene after someone relapses or disappears or goes somewhere. And Orbit detects measurable patterns that show a person is sliding before the crash happens. So you got to ask yourself, if you're a professional in this, if you could intervene knowing in advance that a crash is going to happen, if you could see a measurable pattern that shows the sliding before that happens, would that benefit you? Is that an evil thing? Is that something that's going to take your job or make it more important? Or like we would say, amplify it. Because what makes this even more effective is that the intervention occurs while the person still has clarity and choice, not afterwards when they're drinking or using. And AI isn't the treatment. Of course it's not. It's the early warning and precision support engine that delivers the right intervention at the right time. Just in time AI, JIT AI, just in time AI, the early warning that allows you, the professional, to bring precision support and deliver the right intervention at the exact precise right time. You couldn't do that before. So when it comes to clinical responsibility, you might think, is the AI responsible for these interventions? No. AI could be thought of more like just like you would your textbooks, just like a diagnostic manual. You go to it and it gives you information to help you make decisions as a professional caregiver. It is not the decision maker. It is a support tool. So when it comes to clinical responsibility, Orbit is really, really clear. AI provides the signals and the recommendations and pattern recognition, but humans hold the clinical authority always. Clinicians and organizations remain accountable for the decisions, and Orbit is accountable for the governance, safety, and how interventions are designed. The algorithm doesn't get to own any responsibility any more than like a textbook would, or a video that helped you learn, or a meeting of other professionals where you can't transfer the liability onto those other professionals. This is just like that. It's just another thing in the loop of information that's accurate, dependable, and ever present when we're not. Us as caregivers, mentors, sponsors, we're not ever present. The AI is. So that's why it's so important. And the question comes up about bias. And then bias is also a real issue in AI, of course, and we treat that very seriously. Orbit is designed to focus on behavioral signals and engagement patterns rather than the demographic assumptions. We audit outputs for those types of disparities and measure those false negatives and false negatives across all the groups and continuously adjust the model. So it's not like an app where you have one thing, right? And it's just that one set of information and that's that, and it's for all people. This is a highly dynamic, personalized thing. So keeping an eye on it from a programming standpoint to look for bias on any level, whether it be social levels or political levels or diagnosis levels or care professional levels, there's a place for this, and it's not in determining those personal habits or thoughts on other things, right? So that type of bias is filtered out constantly, and we're always looking for false positives and false negatives across groups, and we continuously adjust the model. And what reduces the harm dramatically is that Orbit's AI triggered responses are supportive. They're not punitive. It's more outreach and more engagement and more human connection, not less. There's a question about clinician capacity, right? We got a shortage of mental health providers. Perhaps that's true. The clinician capacity question is important to address because AI should never be used as an excuse to cut staff. Orbit is built to elevate clinicians, not replace them. It removes the monitoring burden humans can't sustain 24/7 and lets clinicians focus on what matters, the judgments that are necessary, the relationship that is necessary, and the interventions. They drive it. And finally, as AI becomes too influential, no, you and I both know it's influential. But when does it become too influential is an important thing to address. And we get the sense that maybe it's starting to replace personal agency. And Orbit is built much more like a navigation system than a control system. And it's vital that we understand the difference. Suggestions versus demands are much more like, individual path, individual experience versus control. And we're not trying to control people, but we are trying to augment their behavior. We are trying to give suggestions that help them out of the very things that cause them trouble, because it can detect drift, recommend those corrections, and escalate support to the human in the loop. But the person still owns, that patient still owns these decisions in the end. The goal is resilience and competence, not at all dependence. And so those are the differences that Orbit doesn't automate anything, right? It strengthens recovery before relapse happens. It's not an effort to autonomize the individual. It's an effort to connect the clinician and the individual and their support structure in an amazing way, in a way not previously possible. And to be able to see drift, behavioral change, and make interventions during timeframes as clinicians you were previously completely blind to. So thank you for taking a minute to hear those things. There's a long form video with answers to some of these questions. All the questions are challenges that are coming from care providers across LinkedIn. And I really, please drop your questions, your challenges. I hate AI. I'm never doing AI. AI is the devil, or, AI is the greatest thing ever, and all space in between. Go ahead and drop those comments here. I would love to hear them. They're going to help us become better and better and better. And remember, no one can replace you. No one can ever replace you with a machine. It's simply not going to work. But just know that people will not lie to a machine, and they will seek answers from the machine before they call you. If you want to be the human in that loop so that you can then bring it out and they get that feeling, because they do this because the machine doesn't give them this feeling called I'm being held accountable, this feeling called nervousness because I know I didn't do what I said I would do. This is a vital role that AI simply can't fulfill. And if accountability isn't a part of the recovery process, well, then there is no process of recovery. So know this: Orbit Recovery Ecosystem, an AI integrated behavioral health platform, not only works for recovery, but works for depression, anxiety, and other things. And we're glad to provide you a model based on your treatment protocols to help your clients achieve the results you are after with them. Thank you for your time. Orbit Recovery Ecosystem, you can get it right up here, recoveryecosystem.ai. Put a slash on there and you can see a demo. You don't have to talk to anybody. No one's going to sell you anything. It doesn't cost anything to enroll on it if you're a provider. And you can go check out Orbit recoveryecosystem.ai /clinicians to get more information about how this impacts the practice of a professional caregiver. Thanks for your time.